Karen, and I put it on my Twitter.
All right. Uh-oh. All right. Okay. So we're coming up on we're connected. So let's get this started. You should be seeing it. So get ready.
Good afternoon, Kansas City, and welcome to KUAW Radio. First, thank you for joining us again on another Sunday afternoon, another beautiful Sunday afternoon. I know it has been rainy and stormy, but any day that is above the ground where you get to have yet another chance to live out your purpose is still a beautiful day. Before we get started, I want you to take a moment and take a moment and like, comment, share this video. You can find us at KUAW, that's Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, across all social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, as well as the Periscope, and also at KUAW.org. And if you also look on the screen, you can also call into the show at 816-599-6893. I also take a minute because I think I heard myself echo just a little bit. I got a whole lot, y'all know how I am. I got all kinds of stuff going on around here. And turn it down so I don't echo. Make sure that you also like and comment and subscribe, and also on YouTube, hit the notification bell so that you can be aware when we upload new content, and that also helps the algorithm and to push all of our content out. You know, I always say that that is just so important because KUAW is one of the very few Black-owned media companies, and that focuses on Black activities, everything Black, everything that is Black-led and youth-oriented, and not only that, but positive content, family-oriented content, community-oriented, grassroots, that content, and also being that it's here, rooted in the Kansas City area. You just don't find this everywhere. So also, your donations help as well. And being that you can have that here and that it is community led, the more that you give, the more that you participate. And again, liking and commenting and sharing, all of that is because you use your finger and it's free. The more you do that, the more that you push the content out, and the more people that become aware of it and can see it. And then also, if you have information that you want to share with community, or a message that you want to get out with the community, my email is always available. You can reach me at drcarasay@bronzealert.com. And then those of you who, or the SEDtherapist@gmail.com, those of you who are familiar with KUAW and the radio station, just come up to the W.E.B. Du Bois Center or check out any of the links that are there. You know, my Facebook and my IG pages, my professional page is always open. I'm at the Dr. Carasay on, so the Dr. Carasay on the IG, which you all know the name of my practice and my company is Better Days. So you can find me on Twitter and Facebook up under the Better Days Network. But contact me. You know, I get emails all the time, and you know, I respond to them. If I don't get it on the next show, then I would get it at the one after that. I love to hear from you guys, any input that you have about anything that's going on in Kansas City. We try to get there, we try to participate. I know you've been seeing how we try to actually get out in the community and actually be hands-on with some of the interviewing now, rather than always being in the studio. That's another piece we're trying to add to it. So again, if it's something that we can come out and participate in and showcase to the community, know that we are branching out and getting out to do that now. So you're not bound by having to run from your event to get to the studio, or thinking that you're limited by us not being able to be out there. So just let us know, and we will do our best to make it possible. So with that being said, we are all impacted by the culture, whether it is TV, radio, arts, entertainment, whatever the case may be. It affects our daily lives. And this is where we talk about it every first and third Sunday here with Up Close and Culture with Dr. Kara Say on KUAW Radio. Today, I'm very, very, very excited because I told you that we had a lot of things going on in Kansas City, especially a lot of things with the youth. And a lot of the reporting that has happened, I would say over the past couple of months, hasn't been that positive. And honestly, if we want to take it back, it would be all the way back to 2021. And I know it was going back before that, but just saying 2021 leads to the relevancy of today. And I remember coming to you guys about an incident that happened out in Olathe. But many of you guys know that I live in Thompson County. And we were going to a board meeting. I'm trying to think if it was a board meeting. I actually did not attend that meeting. I actually was over in Kansas City. I had already had an obligation. I was coming from another meeting, and I told you that there were some kids. I saw them on my security camera. I left a note on my door. And they were kids who were actually from one of the schools in Olathe. And I don't know how I missed the report, but it was from the incident where it was a racially motivated incident. And it was at the school where, and I know I'm gonna get a few of the facts mixed up, but, and then I know we'll speak about it in more detail, and my guest is going to help me with it. I'm not even going to try to recall it all, but I know it was a racially motivated incident. But the kids knew that they knew where I live. I'm one of the few chocolate people over here, but they still know that I'm very outspoken, and they know that I'm active in the community. And so when they needed help, they came over here. And so at the time, I had let, this was right after, or shortly after an incident had happened out in Park. Now, I think the school out in Missouri is Park Hill, the Park Hill School District. And if I'm not mistaken, this directly affected one of the Panther sisters' family firsthand, because her, I know one of her relatives actually went to that school. But all of these things, and as I always say, something happens on one side of the border, it inevitably happens on the other. You always hear me say that if KCK gets a cold, then KCMO starts to sneeze. So even when you look at things happen, you look out the window and you see things happen and you figure, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Or even when you don't think that, But you see these things happen and you think that they don't affect you directly. And then you think that because you're on one side of the border, that it's not going to touch you, especially when you already have that mentality where you just don't go or travel one side to the other, which is just still a concept that I just still have trouble grappling with since I moved here, because I'm everywhere. I don't know, maybe that's just the country girl in me. I go everywhere. I don't care, barefoot and all, I'm everywhere. But point being, and as large and as massive as the entire KC metro area is, you all have such a great advantage from the diversity of the population, the culture that's here. And if everyone here could just galvanize and take advantage of that and could just come together and pull on each other's strengths and let everyone do what they are capable of doing in their own realm of intellect, this place could be dynamic. And I think that the biggest struggle that Kansas City has is that we don't know that. And when I say we, I mean the Black and the BIPOC population don't know that. And that has been suppressed for so long. Me just reading the history of Kansas City. As always in history, I believe that they know that. Other populations know that about us. But we have to buy into it. Because if we were truly, as they say, truly as ignorant or as non-functioning or as lazy or as incapable as they would like us to believe through the lens of what the media wants to put out, or through the stories of the violence and always the downtroddenness of what some music or movies or whatever the case may be, the only negative things that you see that's constantly being pushed at you instead of the positive things that you could see. If those things really were true, or them, which is my favorite, constantly telling you not to vote, or that your vote doesn't matter. If any of those things were true, then they wouldn't have to work so hard to make it so, or to convince you of it. So clearly, if there is all of this work and all of this effort being put into making you feel less than what you are, and having to show you that you are less than what you are, and to keep you in a certain place, now trying to change your education, and now trying to mold this education into a prison system because of what it is pulling out, such as my guest here today. Then if that was the case, then it will be easy and they would just leave it alone. But it's not. It's not. And so because we know that, and because we are well aware of that, because we are well aware of what Kansas City metro area collectively, the Missouri side, the Kansas side, has to offer, it is time that we start to bank on that. It's time that we start to pull all of that in. And me, I'm almost half 100, okay? Been doing this for a minute. And the biggest thing that people don't think about, especially when it came to the civil rights movement, is that a lot of these things happened and took place because they were youth-led movements. And that's what we have to get back to. And that is exactly what we're doing today. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And it is about getting the youth involved and getting the youth galvanized and educated on how to get involved. And understand, not taking this away, because I know that the youth are already involved. I already know that the youth are out there doing dynamic things. I'm not taking away from that at all. The purpose of this is to pull everybody together and to certainly have resources and connections and to build that solidarity so that we're all on the same page. And then understand that there is a place for everyone. Everyone is not made to protest. And then understand that protest is not always being on the block with a sign. And so without going into detail about everything, those are the conversations that we're going to have. So whatever your talent is, whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that you are good at, maybe something that we haven't even thought of yet. That is what we need to have conversations about. And so with that being said, today I have with me Madison Lyman, which I'm pronouncing it. I don't ever say your last name. Is it Lyman or Layman?
It's Lyman. You said it right.
Lyman, because I don't even call you Madison. I don't even call you your first name. I call you Maddie. So. But anyway, I have Maddie here with me today, and she is the founder of BSSN, which is the Black Student Solidarity Network. And I mentioned all of the incidences that happened, and I went back to Olathe in 2021 because it was those incidences of the racism and the episodes of white supremacy that drove the creation of the Black Student Solidarity Network, which is an offshoot also of another excellent Black-led organization, KC Defender, that we work with as well. So, Maddie, I will let you introduce yourself, and I will let you, since BSSN is your baby, I want you to, that's why I didn't mention the second incident that happened, because I want you to be able to first introduce yourself to everyone. First, thank you for being on the show, and welcome to KUAW Radio, but introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Madison Lyman, so known as Maddie. And I am the founder of the Black Student Solidarity Network. I am also a writer and community programs leader for the Kansas City Defender, and I currently sit on the Mayor's Commission for reparations for the city of Kansas City as a student representative. So what drove me and the Defender to create the Black Student Solidarity Movement were instances of racism just across several school districts. So the idea mainly started during the Olathe School District when a Black student was experiencing racism and bullying from teachers and other students. And though he had made it known, the school was doing nothing about it. And in fact, when one Black student, I believe his name was TJ, decided to stand up for himself, he was actually expelled. And so that, and incidents like that, including one farther back in Park Hill, where students passed around a petition to bring back slavery, just really showed us that it was necessary for Black students to come together to support each other, no matter what district it is. But also, when these incidences were happening, we were noticing that even like without this being created, students across districts were so supportive of each other. I remember at my school, I go to Lincoln College Prep, even we were standing in solidarity with them. And when we had our issues, the students of Olathe were standing in solidarity with us. So this is just, the network is just a way for us to officially stand together and for all of us together to change education for Black youth as a whole.
Awesome. And you are exactly right. This is, and let me, I want to be very clear, along with KC Defender, because I know we talk about this a lot. Some people, not all, some people are under the false assumption that this is just a Missouri thing. Simply because I guess maybe just the presence has been in Missouri a lot. But the purpose is for the entire area to come together, both the Missouri and the Kansas side. So you definitely mentioned Park Hill. Park Hill is in Missouri. You mentioned Olathe. Olathe is in Kansas. So we're looking to bridge that gap. And like you said, the students are supportive of each other. The students on both sides of the border, they want to come together. And so what you're saying is that you have formed a BSSN and working with the defender to be that bridge. And so can you go into detail how you plan to make this happen?
So we plan to make this happen by one, just getting students from every district, but also making sure that we have meetings in Missouri and in Kansas. So right now we're still looking for a location in Kansas. We had our first meeting here in Missouri, but we plan to have the next one on August 5th in Kansas. So that we're just able to move back and forth and make it convenient for those who live in Kansas, so that we're also like meeting them. And then also as it goes down, as school starts, people's schedules get busier. I know mine will. And so we'll also be looking for a person in Kansas that can lead meetings there. In-person meetings there. So in Missouri will be virtual and then they'll be like in person there. We're just doing our best to make sure that we jump from state to state so each state feels included. And especially like as you mentioned, a lot of people view the defender or even this group as something that's solely for Missouri. And we want to show that it's not just for us, but that this is for all Black students in both states, and we want those in Kansas to feel as included as possible. So,
and how can they find out about the meeting and the activity? And can you talk about the activity as well? You talked about the meeting. Yeah.
So we can find out about the meetings through the Kansas State Defender, but we are also making an Instagram specifically for the BSSN, and that should be up during this week. And so there you'll get all the information on when meetings are, meeting times, and also activities. So the current activity that we have coming up is a Black well, it is Black, but it's a back to school event. And it's one just to help give out school supplies because we know that buying school supplies is not always accessible to everyone. And especially for Black people, we want to make sure that they have all that they need and that they're fully prepared to go back to school. But the other thing that sets it apart is that we'll also have pamphlets for organizing, specifically in each state, but also regarding student rights for each school district, because what students are able to do across each district varies a lot. And so sometimes that leads to an even harsher response to organizing in maybe like Olathe than it would in KCPS, or a harsher response in KCPS than it would in Olathe. And so while we do want to change that, it's important that students know what they can and cannot do so we avoid any problems regarding that. So we'll have pamphlets on organizing, pamphlets for students' rights in each district, and also just information on mutual aid and other organizations that you can join that pique your interest, but also so that we can all just support the community more. This is not just one way that students can support their community. So we want to be able to provide resources so that they can find the other ways as well.
Okay.
We're looking at possible dates. Right now we're looking at August the 19th. There's no set location, but we are looking at public parks, preferably a park that's towards the middle of Kansas and Missouri. But yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's go back for a minute because you talked about some very, very important and key things. And all of that sounds great. And I know that the viewers are listening and know it sounds great as well. But I want the listeners to actually grasp and know that this work has actually it's already being done. And you're already seeing the fruits of it. And you spoke about organizing and making the students aware of their rights and how their rights affect them at their particular school in their particular district, and how knowing those rights can help improve their situation. And so we actually just came out of that with what happened in Olathe. And actually, I will put in the chat, which you guys know I always end up doing after the session ends, the links to, I'll go ahead and I'll link to the Defender first, because that's the website that's up. And then you will be able to find information on what has already been done. But you can specifically, when you go back and you remember everything that happened with Olathe School District and Principal Longnecker, is that his name, that just left. And all of that was a direct result of what part of it was a huge result of what the Black Student Solidarity Network did. But I'm going to link that in so you'll be able to go and look at that. And then also I'm going to put contact information and all of that within the chat. But going back to you, Maddie, I want you to expound on that so that our viewers can know with what you just spoke about as far as knowing the rights and making students aware of that. How did you use that information right there to bring about change in what happened in Olathe?
So we were able, well, since Olathe, we're able to bring about change by recognizing that even though they were facing just racial injustice, that there were things that they could still do. So they made demands and they recognized that they could get things done. And so one of those demands was making sure that Principal Longnecker did not come back for the next school year, and making sure that things were put in place so an even better principal and an even better school board for them would be possible. And so the students of Olathe were successful and Longnecker stepped down. But also another part that they really wanted was a minority chair for racial justice for their district. They already had one to begin with, but they wanted to make sure that that person had more power and that that person was able to voice truly what Black students wanted. And then other things, they just wanted to have a bigger presence in their school for Black students. And so they hope to add a policy so that when acts of racism um, happen, there's equal punishment across the board, and that it's on the person who commits the act permanent records. So they're working with their school district and people on the school board to make sure that all their demands come true. And so that's what they've been doing.
Awesome. And just to piggyback on that, I will say that the Olathe School District, they were the board, and very specifically Brad Boyd, who is the vice president of the Olathe School Board, which is actually who I met with and followed up with after that and spoke with about the demands that were made in detail. And he was in agreement with a lot of things. And he was very accommodating. And many of the board members were not pleased with what happened. And I want to put that out there just to say that the kids did have and do have a lot of support. And there are people who are on the Olathe School Board who are working right now to make those demands happen. Again, the biggest piece being that when these things happen, that they are a part of the permanent record, that they are not just swept under the rug and act as though that it doesn't happen. And then also that if and when it does happen, that there is a standard of reporting that happens outside of the school. Because what we found was that it ends up that you have to report it, or the child has to go, the student has to go and make a report to a staff member who ends up just being a buddy of the teacher who were just bullying them, or the coach of the star player, who was just bullying them. And that in and of itself is just an imbalance. It's an imbalance of power. And that's why a lot of these complaints never went anywhere. They either are underreported, or they're underreported for that reason, or they're just not reported for fear that nothing is going to happen or that they will be retaliated against because of that. And then also there was that piece that we did find out in dealing with this, was that one of the issues that it was not reported, because one of the kids that was involved was a star player on the baseball team. And because he was being recruited for a scholarship, they did not want this information getting out. And so the longer that they could draw it out to the end of school, to when those games were being played, because if you get suspended from school, you're not allowed to play on the team. So they wanted to keep him on there because they had, I believe the coaches were coming from Wichita to see his brother and him play. So there were a lot of things going on that need to change, and things that we just weren't even aware about. And I know some things that I mentioned that even the school board members that I spoke to weren't even aware about. It was just the fact that, which again is a point of this, and why I'm speaking about it, is to let the students, the parents, the teachers, the administrators know, who are like-minded, that this is more. We are going beyond getting involved. We are being proactive instead of just being reactive to situations. Because what happens is you show up, you get upset, you stand outside of school with a sign, and you might be on the news for 2 or 3 minutes, and then it goes back to normal, what they consider normal and what they want us to believe is normal. And we're just saying that we're not going to do that anymore. The students are not going to do that anymore. And as adults, we're not going to sit back and watch our children be traumatized. And that is another piece that's out there. is making sure that when this happens, these acts of violence, because that's what they are. When our children are treated this way, we are considering them acts of violence, that there are mental health resources out there for them that will be paid for at the school district's expense. And when they are recorded, then we need to see that there are not just policy, because you can write a policy all day, and the policy is fine that's put in place, but we need to see some action behind that policy. And if there is a policy that is put in place and then these incidences keep happening, then we need to figure out why. And if it is a specific person that keeps doing it. And then once that happens, then we know who to hold accountable. And those are the people that we need to start getting rid of. And so when those things happen, that's what action is. You start asking questions and you know what to do, and you come up with a plan B, C, D, E, whatever the case may be. But those are the things that are being put into place. And of course, when you put things on the permanent record, then that means that colleges will see this. So there's no longer a time when you can just do something. And then, especially these acts of violence and these acts of racism, and then you hear about all of these things, these same things, kids in blackface when you go to college, and all of these incidences of hazing, or you hear all of the N-word and just all of the other things that you hear on the news, and then these students are getting expelled. Well, that they didn't just show up to the university acting that way. So that is what we are trying to do and to stop, at least here, do our part in our little piece of the world here. And it is going to require everyone to get involved, but it's not just working with that. It is also about, again, the solidarity. It is about getting involved in those things that are going to bring and promote community about us. It's getting involved in education and getting involved in STEM and robotics programs and whatever it is about you that will make you whole and actualize and promote your future. We want to pull from whatever resources that are around Kansas City and make it all about you, and figure out how it is to make you get from wherever you are right now to where you need to be to become a full functioning adult. We are it's heavy student led, but it is definitely student focused and young adult focused. And that is the beauty of this program. And I'm just so happy that, to be a part of it, and that, just Madison, her baby, as she calls it, to just bring all of this to fruition. And Maddie, if you can speak about what the students can do to get involved and what everyone can do at their local school level.
All right. So what students can do to get involved is just, you can either reach out to me on Instagram, or you can reach out to the Defender on Instagram, just to get into the group chat that we have, so that everyone's getting the same information. But also, just to get more involved in your school, if you don't already have one, just starting a Black Student Union. I remember 2 years ago when Lincoln College Prep was going through a lot of racist acts, and it felt like no one was doing anything about it. My best friends decided, hey, if they're not going to do anything for us, we will take it into our own hands. And they decided to start a Black Student Union. And then when you start that, it doesn't always have to be like strict or controlling, but at its core, Black Student Unions should be spaces for Black students to have a voice, to have a safe space. And so by creating a Black student union, you're creating a community for Black students within your school. And then after that, you can reach out to Black students across your district and then even across like state lines and district lines. And then by doing that, you're then extending your power and extending your voice, and you're strengthening the community that we as Black students have together. And you're strengthening what we can do together as well. So that's what you can do.
Absolutely. And if you need help setting up your student union, contact us, reach out to us,
Yes.
and we will be more than happy to help you do it. And understand, like Maddie just said, what now the infrastructure will look the same.
Yes.
And that's what we're hoping. As far as when I say infrastructure, just what your officers will look like, making sure everybody has president, vice president, how often you'll meet, same rules, that type of thing. But as far as your each school needs will look different because you're your own community and you would know best because what happens at a Paseo will look different than what happens or what the needs are at a Blue Valley or at a Lincoln Prep. So those are the only things that would be different. But as far as just setting it up, please reach out to us and we will do everything that we can to help you to get that set up and then to help you set up the meeting and then to build the connections between the schools around you and then build this entire network across the state border. And that is the point of all of this. And so it's not just in times of crisis, because it's actually the crises that we're trying to get rid of. Those are the things that we don't want to happen. And understand that when we're talking about creating these safe spaces, of course we want you to come and talk about what is happening to you that may not be so good. We absolutely want to deal with that. We want to know that at all times and in all ways, whatever that looks like. And we're going to be there to help you get through that. The biggest thing also is to let you all know that we want to build a space to let you know that your life is not all about struggle. And that once you get around other like-minded people and you join in and find out that there are so many other kids like you and other brilliant teams like Maddie, that your life and your experiences are just so much better than what those small environments and what those small minds around you are trying to make you believe about yourself. And so we just want the best spaces possible. And the Black Student Solidarity Network is just taking control of all of that, because who better to do that than you guys? We're just there to here as adults just to help the students, help you guys do that for yourself. So again, whether that be your education, your mental health, we're just starting with the schools, because again, that's where you all are. Kids have to be in school, okay? So that's where you guys are. It's easy, and it just makes sense to rally you guys there at school. Everyone needs to have a Black Student Union set up at your school and participate whatever your talent may be. Again, everybody has their own function in this life. As long as you do whatever it is that you're charged to do well, and then build off of that. And once we get all of that well, I don't want to say once we get all of that information, there should be, because I skipped the gun a little bit, there actually is a form where they can
Yes.
fill out. And I will put that on there as well. But can you, where is that? Is that in one of the stories? We might need to repeat that since we're doing the show and go ahead and get that out again.
Yes, it's in one of the stories. There's a story written about the BSSN and its origins, and right at the end, there's a button and you can click and fill out the interest form. Yeah.
Okay, is that on the social media page or is that actually on the paper, the KC Defender dot?
It's actually on the website. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so just to reiterate, if you go to kcdefender.com, I am actually going to see, so I can link it as well. So when you go to the Defender's website, what she's saying is that there is a story about about BSSN written up already, so you can get an introduction. And what you will find is at the end of the story, there's going to be a jot form for you to JOAT. There's a form for you to go and fill out, and it goes back directly to you. Right now,
Yes.
you would just like, oh, okay. And once we get your information, whatever it is that you put on there, then we'll be able to reach out to you. What I will add to that, because we actually had a teacher, I know who showed up at the meeting on yesterday. She came via Zoom, but if there are any parents, teachers, administrators, school board that need to reach out, you can reach out to me, and with whatever questions you have, we will be sending out a letter to each of these school districts as well, just to let you know. Again, I would say just a formal introduction of what the Black Student Solidarity Network is, and to let you know that it is definitely a welcoming platform, and we value your input as well, and would love to know what you think that or how we could be, what you believe we could be of a service, or how we could help the school as well, or what you have seen in your community that could be built upon for the betterment of the Black students or the BIPOC population at the school as well. And so you'll be more familiar with who is actually involved in it as well. So we will be getting all of that information out to the school district as well. I know that enrollment has started it started everywhere now, right? So, because I know that that's what I was waiting for, was to wait for people to get back in the offices. So be on the lookout for that. But I said that just so that teachers and administrators know that, they wouldn't, and as brilliant as you are, I know you're a singer this year. They still wanted to know if there was going to be another adult or someone that they could reach out to for other information on some things. So, of course, all of your questions, comments, concerns, whatever, reach out and let us know. And please, parents, definitely, we do want you involved as well. And because it's imperative that I know I won't use me, I would just say, if it's your child, you should want to be in the business. You should want to be a part of anything dealing with them, but also anything that is made to promote positivity in their life. And especially something that welcomes you to be a part of that, and that you can be hands-on with, I really do encourage you. There are a lot of adults who follow the KC Offender Defender page, and there's going to be a link on the Defender page that will link you to the BSSN sites. And just be patient. We're putting all of that together. There's a lot of work to be done. And just to put that out there, if you want to talk about other positions that you talked about, offices and things, because we're in the process of building all of this now. But there are going to be, if you know already that you want to be involved, because again, and I'm bringing this up because we've got the websites to build, social media things to build. So if that is your forte, if that is your skill set, then definitely let us know, because we can put you to work. But Maddie, I'll let you go ahead and talk about that.
Definitely. So we are looking for people who are interested in having a more leadership role in the Black Student Solidarity Network. So one of them would be focusing on our pillars. So our first pillar is advocacy and organizing. So this would be organizing protests, organizing walkouts, town halls, or political educations and things like that. And we're looking for someone to head that. We're looking for someone to head our community building pillar, which is just activities that we all can do together. So whether it's going to a movie, organizing a book club, or just things of that nature, just things that we can do together to lift our spirits and to make sure that this stays a positive space for us all. And then our third pillar, which we're looking for someone to lead, is our mutual aid pillar, which is just organizing events around supporting the community around us. One of the examples for this would be the back to school event that we're hosting. That's an example of a mutual aid event. Outside of the three pillars, we're also looking for someone to run social media, and also for someone to lead the Kansas meetings. But feel free to reach out if you're interested or you know anyone who would be interested. But also, if you take on one of these leadership roles, you won't be by yourself. We'll all be here to support you. The students in the BSSN will be here to support you, and you'll be working right with me. So you won't be doing it all by yourself. But yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And she's a joy to work with. So just to wrap this up, we are going to, all of this is in the process of being built right now. You can find all of this information, everything we just spoke about. Everyone knows where to find the KC Defender, Kansas City Defender, on Facebook as well as Instagram. You're going to find links to everything that we just spoke about. You'll find links to Maddie's page. You will find links to the BSSN, and it's still being built, so don't judge us right now. And then you will find links if you have any questions. Again, questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, whatever we want to know, and we want you involved. And I just want to thank you guys for being here with us. Thank you, Maddie, for being a guest on the show. You'll be hearing a lot about BSSN, and we just hope that we hear from you guys as well. But we're going to be all up in your face and all up in the business, making sure that our kids and the community here are just having the best experience possible here in the metro area, just trying to change a lot of these narratives. So do you have any last minute or any parting words for anyone, Maddie?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for supporting this endeavor. And I just want to thank everyone who's listening in. We really just want to create a space that's specifically for Black students in the city, because that is so slim. There's not that many places for us. And so by supporting it, you're supporting Black students, and that is just an amazing thing. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you And you guys in the audience, I will see you guys on this is the third Sunday. So I will see you guys on the first Sunday in August. You all have a good Sunday. Thank you for tuning in to Up Close and Culture with Dr. Thursday. See you later, Maddie.
Thank you. See you later. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.